Going on, everybody? It's been a minute, right? It's been a while since I've done one of these blogs, and I thought it'd be a great chance to see you if I could. It's on a screen, so I can't really do that. It's kind of this isn't Zoom or what's the other ones they have, Slack or any of those. This is me and a video, but I hope you are doing well. I know through this whole quarantine and all the stuff going on right now, it's been kind of madness in every profession, including cartooning. And it's been a little challenging for me to try to come up with some, ideas for you to watch over the weeks. I've done a few blogs and I try to put a few things out there, and I've been asking a lot of questions. But I know it's been kind of like, it's been challenging times for a lot of us. And hopefully you are doing well. And, it happens, and I know, I just say that like nonchalantly, like, it happens, and I know right now is kind of the extreme a little bit as I record this, but just to let you know, I mean, I've lived a while. I'm not, I know my grandparents have lived longer than me, and everything else, but I've seen a lot of things, and I do know that through a lot of bad things, good things can come out of it too. And I really, truly believe, I'm not just trying to say this to be all positive and whatever, but I really do think some good's going to come out of this in a lot of ways eventually. That means through this whole COVID thing and the protesting going on right now and all that. So if you're watching this right now, currently in 2020, in the beginning of June, you know what's going on. So I'm an optimist. I really am. And that served me well. I will admit, being an optimist has really served me well. And say what you want, but when you have, I don't know. I just think things are going to get better. So anyhow, I hope you are doing great, and I hope you're hanging in there. And I thought what I would briefly discuss today was, I know through this, a lot of folks have told me they're in a rut. I've gotten emails, and I've been asking a lot of questions the past few months to my email subscribers, to Cartooning Courses Pro students, and a lot of people like, how are you doing? Do you have any questions? What's going on? How are you doing through all this? And I know a lot of, again, it's not just cartoonists, but since this is Cartooning Courses, right? A lot of people have been in a rut recently, and I've had my challenges too, big time. Hey, I'm only human, and I'm in the same. I don't like to say we're all in this together, because I know every situation is different, but I've had some challenging moments, that is for sure. It's funny, a lot of mine were actually before all this hit, back in 2019. I had some major challenges that I had to get past, and I did. And even now then too, there are some challenges, but anyhow, so I wanted to discuss with you, like, what do you do when you're in a rut, and how to get past it. And I'll briefly describe what I do, and this is going to pertain more towards ideas with cartooning. If you are looking to make a cartoon series, or maybe you have a book you want to write, or maybe it's just you're cranking out comics right now, but it's just not growing as fast as you feel like it is, and you feel like it's kind of in a rut, like what to do, what can you do about that? Will it get better? What I typically do, if things aren't, there's two different ruts, I guess, or maybe more than that even. I'm no rut expert, put it that way, but when I feel like something's in a rut, I switch it up. If I have a comic that's not doing well, I'll try a different marketing approach. I'll switch up change the colors even, maybe the captions, experiment with different types of, with different mediums. I've been doing a lot of black and white illustrations recently, in fact, the past year, and I really love those. I have like one of my favorite cartoonists out there, Charles Addams. You know who that is? Chas Addams of the Addams Family. If you ever looked at, if you know his work, or if you've ever seen any of his New Yorker comics of the Addams Family or anything, he's got that black and white washed look to it. I really love that. I always loved that. So I've been experimenting with that, and it's going well. I've been using that for a new graphic novel that I've been. It's still being developed and worked on, but. So that's been new for me, because my other graphic novel approaches were different. So I just didn't like the way I was using kind of a strip format with not that type of coloring, and just some weird inking. It just wasn't working. It wasn't working. I did that. I didn't really switch it up, and then finally I'm like, you know what? I felt in a rut with it, and I switched it up, and I changed it to what it is now, and I feel much better about that. If so, that's kind of, for long-term big projects, that's an example of mine. Just my advice is to switch it up. If you feel like something's not going well, if you're not getting more fans, and you're doing like every bit of marketing, I mean, I'm not saying just give it up. Maybe your marketing's not good, but look into that. Switch that up. Switch up the marketing. Maybe it's not the art. Maybe you might have the best comic in the world, but you just don't know how to get to your fans. They haven't discovered you yet. So look into marketing. If you're doing marketing and everything perfectly, and it's still lackluster, then maybe consider switching it up. I've tossed many. I don't know how many ideas I had for syndicated cartoons throughout my life. That, when you submit to a syndicate, this is more back in the day a little bit, but when you submit to a syndicate, you draw up a batch of about 24 comics and a few Sunday comics, which are the really big ones, and you submit them. And I have probably submitted at least 24 over my lifetime of comic features, ideas that I thought had potential, but I couldn't sell them. I didn't, some of them I tried an Instagram account with or something, or a Facebook page, and they never took off. And you know what? I killed them. There's a phrase about killing your darlings. And I don't know where that came from or anything, and maybe I'm messing that up, but something like that. And I've discovered this stuff doesn't work. There's no shame in just booting it and trying something else, or tweaking it and adjusting it, doing what you have to do, even if you've been working on it for years. Would you rather work on a comic for 10 years and then figure out like maybe it's not working and try something else, or just keep working on that same comic and it's not doing anything? Or, I would say as soon as you kind of discover the problem, if you can, get it taken care of and get out of that rut. Ask people. It doesn't hurt to take a survey. It's so easy to put up surveys online and things like that nowadays on Instagram or anywhere. Do that. Put up a survey. Ask. I wouldn't recommend asking your close friends, because your friends and family will always tell you, "Oh, it's great. It's perfect. It looks fantastic." You got to have some real honest feedback about things. And just ask around and do what you have to do. But to get out of it, if you're in a rut with where you're at, try to figure out what that is and then try to solve it. Now, if we're talking like short term, like just nothing's going anywhere. I don't have a comic feature. I have nothing. I can't come up with ideas, anything like that. Do what I do mostly with that type of situation is, at least from my standpoint, I come up with ideas sometimes, and I'm really excited about them. And it's almost like one of the, these moments, like Oprah would say, aha moment, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. And then I'll look at it the next day and like, oh, wow, that's kind of shitty. So that happens all the time to me. And it's kind of a mini rut, I'd call it. It's like, well, that's not going anywhere. That's not going to happen now. That feature is just not it. And it's like I'm always trying to figure out like where to devote my time, what's best, what do I want to do? And so my point being, if you're running across that a lot, you come up with ideas, or you're having a hard time even coming up with one idea, just take a break, take a little breather, put it aside, maybe think of something else. And I've had on the opposite side of the coin, some things I've put on the side, and then I'll look at, down the road, and then something else will hit me where it's like, that could work, and maybe it needs tweaked. It needs an addition to it or something, or maybe it's good the way it was, and I work on it, and then I'll put it out there. That applies to a lot of gag comics, or things with clients, stuff like that. That just I feel like is not good, but then I'll look at it again and try to have an objective perspective on it. Like, well, maybe it's not that bad. So my suggestion is, don't just be in a rut and feel like you're in a rut. You just put it aside, try something new, and go forward and see what happens with your new idea. A lot of the great ideas out there you hear it with musicians and all that. I think Paul McCartney came up with the song, yesterday in a dream, and it'd be great if all that happened to all of us, right? Like we just dream and we wake up and like, oh, that's it. That's the number one hit right there. Doesn't really happen that way, but a lot of the great ideas you always hear about come to people in the shower or whatever, and it doesn't even have to be a great idea to become a great idea eventually, So just don't be in a rut. Don't feel bad about it. And I think when you say you're in a rut, it's kind of negative, and it doesn't have to be. It just means you move on to something else, you try something else, and keep going until something works. And it may take a very long time. And if you can discover some of the ways to make it go as good as you can make it along the way, that will help speed up the process and help you along the way too. So that's just a little rambling from me. It's been a while since I've done a vlog here, and I hope that makes sense. It all kind of comes together a little bit. Just, a rut is not really a rut. It's just more of coming up with other things on top of that, and keep working at it. Just don't give up. Don't toss in the towel and be like, that's it. Nothing's working. It's not going to happen. That's not the case. It's not the case. You just got to keep going, keep working at it. And again, I'm bringing up the whole rut situation because I feel like I know a lot of people have felt that way recently, and understandably, my gosh, understandably so. But yeah, just don't stay there. Don't stay in a rut. If anything, you can look at this time like I really have. It's been a very productive time for me. It really has been, because we've all been isolated. Now we're slowly able to get out, but we've been, in the house, and I've locked myself in my studio. I've been cranking away as much as I can, and really taking advantage of the time. It's been actually rather nice, not trying to come up with weekend plans or getting out of the house, because for a while now we haven't been able to. So I've taken advantage of the time, and again, I know everyone's situation is different. I know jobs have been an issue out there for a lot of people, and just a lot of things going on right now, health especially, and just all that. So just hang in there. Don't be in a rut. Just keep working. Be productive, and just know, again, as an optimist, I'm going to tell you that I really do believe a lot of good is going to come out of all this, and it eventually will sort itself out in a good way, and that goes with cartooning or whatever it is, wherever you're at. So hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear from you. I feel like, I just feel like I'm talking to an old friend here, and I may not know you personally, but I'd like to consider you a friend. Hey, video friend, whatever you want to call it. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll try to come out with more vlogs on a regular basis. I have ideas for all of these. I really do. But again, it's been, how do I describe it? With all this going on, it's been kind of, I've been trying to just kind of tweak things myself. Again, not in a rut, but here again, I've been working on adjusting things here too. So, but yeah, check out I put out a new blog on graphic novels actually on the website, cartooningcourses.com. You can check that out. And follow me on Instagram if you haven't yet. I keep putting up content there, and things are rolling along. So I'd love to hear from you, what you're up to. If you're in a rut, let me know how you're getting out of it. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.